He looked like just another guy with a boring routine, a father, a husband, a man overlooked. But Hutch Mansell wasn't always a nobody, and when danger knocked, it woke up something deadly from his past. In this recap, we will watch an ordinary life unravel into chaos, bullets, and bloodshed. Today, I will recap the 2021 action-packed thriller film, Nobody. So, keep your eyes wide open and stay safe. Hutch was sleeping in his house with his wife, enjoying the tranquility of their home. He then heard the dogs barking, which made him feel uneasy. He stood up from the bed and went to check on Sammy, his young daughter. Seeing that she was fast asleep, he proceeded to check on Brandy, his teenage son. Hutch found Brandy awake, which made him more concerned. He knew something was wrong. Hutch then went to check the entrance door. He saw two thieves who had just broken into the house and were walking through the hallway. Unfazed, Hutch quietly took a golf club and proceeded to call the cops. As he was about to place the call, the thieves caught him and pointed a gun at him. They ordered him to drop the phone and requested his money. Left with no other option, Hutch complied with their orders, showing them the bowl where he kept his money. One of the thieves took some of the money and collected his watch. As the thief was pulling the watch off, Hutch noticed a tattoo on the thief's hand. Meanwhile, Brandy attacked one of the thieves from behind and began strangling him. The other thief rushed to stop Brandy, which gave Hutch the opportunity to attack. As Hutch was ready to hit the thief with the golf club, he saw something that caused him to lower his weapon. He then cautioned Brandy, who was still strangling the thief, to let him go. Brandy released the thief, angered. The thief punched Brandy in the face, causing him to crash to the ground. Becca, Hutch's emotionally estranged wife, begged the thieves to take whatever they wanted and leave her son alone. The thieves, in desperation, quickly took what they wanted and left the house. The next morning, Hutch was preparing to go to work while Becca was getting the children ready for school. After eating breakfast, Becca drove the children to school while Hutch discussed with their neighbor, who had just bought a Dodge Challenger. The neighbor bragged about how great the car was before driving off. When Hutch arrived at work, his brother-in-law Charlie visited him. Charlie explained that Brandy had called him and told him about the incident. He asked Hutch why he didn't confront the thieves, despite having a golf club. Hutch replied that he was trying to keep damage to a minimum. Charlie, ready to go to any lengths, pulled out a gun and offered it to Hutch. Hutch refused, telling Charlie he didn't want it. Charlie convinced him, saying it wasn't a matter of want but need, since Hutch needed the gun to protect his family from future attacks. Hutch, left with no options, took the gun and hid it in the fridge. Minutes later, Hutch was walking to his office when he had an encounter with Eddie, his father-in-law. Hutch, who had already been criticized by Charlie, wasn't ready for another criticism. He quickly asked Eddie if Brandy told him anything. Eddie replied, yes, then proceeded to tell Hutch that he did his best. Eddie, less concerned about the incident and more focused on making money, asked if Hutch was still interested in buying his business and why Hutch wanted to get rid of him and Charlie. Hutch replied that he just wanted Eddie to enjoy his retirement with his family and wanted Charlie to enjoy his youth. After negotiations, Eddie considered it a bad offer. Hutch then left to continue his work. During his leisure time, he received a call from his brother, Harry. After discussing for a few minutes, Harry asked Hutch what happened at his home the previous night. Hutch was surprised by how fast word traveled, and then explained the situation to his brother, telling him he didn't confront the thieves because their guns were empty. His brother was surprised at how a thief would attack with an empty gun. This also made Harry realize why Hutch didn't confront the thieves. When Hutch finished work, he went to meet his father, David, who was staying in his retirement home. After being served, David noticed Hutch wasn't eating, causing him to ask if Hutch was okay. Hutch, who was barely fine, explained the whole situation to his dad. David then asked Hutch if he remembered who he used to be, leaving Hutch in suspense. When Hutch got home that night, Sammy realized her cat bracelet was missing. Hutch, who cherished his daughter, asked where she had kept it. She carried the bowl from which the thieves took money the previous night, saying she had kept it in the bowl. Suspecting one of the thieves took it, Hutch remained silent and set out to find it. He returned to his father's house, where he picked up his gun and his old FBI ID card, ready to return to his former life as an assassin. His father asked if he was going back to his old life so soon. Hutch, determined to find his daughter's cat bracelet, replied that there was something he had to do. That night, Hutch visited various tattoo parlors with a sketch of the tattoo he had seen on the thief's hand, trying to track them down. At one particular tattoo salon, he identified himself as FBI. The tattoo artists pulled out their weapons, but Hutch remained calm and offered them money. When the owner of the tattoo parlor saw the tattoo on Hutch's hand, he immediately recognized him as a deadly assassin. The owner, unsure of Hutch's intentions, quickly ran out of the salon. The salon attendant then questioned Hutch, asking what he wanted. Hutch pointed to a tattoo photo on the display glass and requested the address of the person. When Hutch arrived at the thieves' home, he found them enjoying themselves. He punched the husband and demanded his daughter's cat bracelet while pointing a gun at him. Just as he was about to shoot, he heard a baby crying in another room. Hutch walked toward the sound and saw the crying baby. Frustrated, he left the house, realizing they likely didn't have the bracelet and were probably robbing to pay for their infant's medical bills. While riding a bus home in frustration, a group of intoxicated thugs boarded the bus and began harassing a young woman. Hutch, angered, decided to give his anger a chance. He walked toward the female driver, escorted her out of the bus, locked the bus door, and watched the thugs from a distance. When the thugs noticed, they asked him what he wanted. Hutch, determined to start a fistfight, pulled out his gun, removed the bullets, and told the thugs he was going to stop them. The thugs yelled at him and laughed. The first thug charged at him, landing a heavy punch on Hutch's face, causing Hutch to lose control. He then returned the punch, causing a brutal fistfight to break out. Hutch, being a skilled assassin, calmly but fiercely fought them off. Unbeknownst to him, the leader of the thugs, Teddy, was the brother of Yulian Kuznetsov, a Russian crime lord protecting the mob's obshak money, a common treasury used in the Russian mafia. After defeating the remaining thugs, Teddy was the only one still standing. Hutch then pulled a rod from the bus and used it to hit Teddy in the neck, damaging his windpipe. Not wanting to kill anyone, Hutch cut Teddy's throat and performed a crude cricothyroidotomy with a straw to help Teddy breathe. He then left the bus, heavily bruised and injured. When Hutch returned home that night, his wife was shocked to see bruises all over his body. She helped treat his wounds, and they went to sleep. Meanwhile, at a nightclub, Yulian Kuznetsov was partying with his crew when he got challenged by one of them, who said his singing and dancing were inappropriate for a man protecting tons of their cash. Yulian, determined to show them how powerful he was, broke the glass cup he was holding and stabbed a random person in the club, twisting his neck to kill him, just to show his crew he was still powerful and confident. One of them then came forward and told Yulian the person he killed was one of their own, who had a 3% stake in the obshak money. They all cheered, deciding to share his equity among themselves. As they were celebrating, Yulian received a call that his brother Teddy was in a coma and had been admitted to the hospital. When Yulian arrived at the hospital, he was devastated by Teddy's condition. He asked the surviving thugs who had attacked them. They explained that a man had beaten them on a bus. Yulian asked them how he could find the man who beat them up, and one of the thugs handed over a Metro card Hutch had dropped during the fight. Fast forward to the next morning. Hutch and Brandy wanted to eat breakfast. Hutch remarked on Brandy's bravery, telling him that when he made the tackle, it was a good takedown, and that he was proud of him. Later that day, Hutch visited his brother Harry. At the barber shop, his brother, already aware of what was happening, questioned Hutch for tampering with the Russians, because that would make things complicated. He then handed over a document to Hutch. Hutch fearlessly checked through the document. When he saw Yulian's picture, he asked if that was the bad guy. Hutch then asked for more information about Yulian. On the other hand, Yulian was determined to find out who beat his brother Teddy to a pulp. He gave a tracker the Metro card given to him by Teddy's men to find out who had beaten Teddy. The tracker blackmailed one of the staff at Hutch's workplace to get information about Hutch, threatening to send nudes of the staff to his family if he didn't provide all the information. Scared, the staff went to look for Hutch's file in the database and sent it to the tracker. When the tracker received the information about Hutch, she printed some pictures and handed them to Yulian, who ordered his men to capture Hutch alive. However, Hutch was at home, getting ready to eat dinner with his family. He looked through the house window and noticed car lights outside. Realizing something dangerous was about to happen, Hutch quickly hid his family in a safe space inside the house. As Yulian's men approached, Hutch turned off the lights, ready for a fight. When the armed mobsters broke into the house, Hutch ambushed them, landing the first strike with the golf club he was holding. He effortlessly took them down one by one, flexing his muscles. However, during the intense fight, one of the mobsters electrocuted Hutch, causing him to pass out. This gave the mobsters the opportunity to capture him. While being transported in the trunk of a car, Hutch regained consciousness, escaped his handcuffs, and broke through the car seat from behind. He immediately sprayed a fire extinguisher into the car, causing the driver to lose control. The car crashed, killing the occupants. As we all know, protagonists don't always die. Hutch survived the crash. He opened the car trunk and came out, heavily bruised. Hutch walked home. When he arrived, he saw his home in disarray. He then freshened up before bringing his family out from the safe space where he had hidden them. Realizing the danger he was facing, he took them straight to the car and pleaded with his wife to take the kids somewhere safer. His wife, still confused about who the mobsters were, agreed and drove off. Realizing the attackers had died, Hutch retrieved a hidden stash of gold and money and burned down the house with the mobsters to destroy evidence. He then stole his neighbor's Dodge Challenger and drove off. Fast forward to Hutch's father, David. While he was asleep in his retirement home, 2 assassins attacked him and tried to kill him. David, a retired FBI agent himself, who was always armed, effortlessly took down the assassins discreetly in a blink, without leaving a trace. Hutch offered his gold to buy his father-in-law's metal fabrication factory. Charlie refused, saying they had put their blood, sweat, and tears into building the factory. This led to an argument between Hutch and Charlie. As Charlie tried to punch Hutch, being quicker, punched Charlie, forcing him into a chair. Hutch's father-in-law, materialistic and blinded by glitter, accepted the offer and sold the factory. The next morning, Hutch quickly rigged the building with explosives and booby traps, preparing for the next attack from Julian. Later that night, Hutch drove to the Russian mafia headquarters and killed the men guarding it, one by one, without being hit by a bullet. After taking the guards down, he proceeded to burn the mob's obshuk money protected by Julian. That same night, Hutch went to the club where Julian was performing. When Julian saw him, he stepped down from the stage and went straight to where Hutch was sitting. His men surrounded Hutch. Surprised by Hutch's confidence, Julian asked if Hutch had the nerve to sit and eat there comfortably. Hutch replied, "Yes," and then stretched his hand to reach for something on the table. Immediately, Julian's men pulled out their guns and pointed them at Hutch. Hutch fearlessly uncovered an explosive he was holding. He then requested a private conversation with Julian. Left with no choice, Julian ordered his men to leave. Hutch explained to Julian that his men had attacked him in his house and caused damage everywhere, forcing him to burn his house down. Now, they could both rebuild everything they had lost. Julian, confused, asked Hutch what he meant by, "They can both rebuild what they had." Hutch, unfazed, pulled out a bundle of burnt cash. Julian, shocked and confused by how Hutch was able to take down the guards and was confident enough to burn the mob's obshuk money, remained silent. However, Hutch, pleased with his actions, challenged Julian to come after him. If he succeeded in taking him down, Hutch said he would still be obligated to provide the whole mob's obshuk money. Hutch questioned Julian if he could even, or would even, want to do that. After more threats from Hutch, he cautioned Julian to live his life far from his. He then stood up and walked out of the club. He fearlessly walked through Julian's men, then entered his car and drove off. Immediately, Julian and his men began tailing him with their cars, determined to cause chaos. Julian leaned out of his car and began shooting at Hutch, causing Hutch's windshield to break. Hutch swiftly entered a narrow lane and was struck again by Julian's men. They started exchanging gunfire. Hutch was outnumbered, but he took cover and drove as fast as he could to the factory, ready to end it all. When he got to the factory, Julian and his men followed him, continuing to exchange bullets. Due to the number of Julian's men, Hutch got hit in the arm, making him unable to counterattack. There is a saying that God doesn't close one door without opening another. As Julian's men continued raining fire on Hutch, Hutch's brother Harry came through for him, taking down Julian's men from the top of the factory building. His father also came out from the building and began shooting at Julian's men. Hutch, surprised, quickly entered the factory and took cover. Julian and his men, ready to put their lives on the line, marched into the building. As the shootout continued, Hutch and his crew kept taking down Julian's men. They also used the booby trap set by Hutch to their advantage. Unfortunately for them, they ran out of bullets. Left with no option, Hutch taped the claymore mine to a bulletproof glass. He then charged at Julian and activated the claymore mine, causing a massive blast that killed Julian and injured Hutch. David and Harry rushed to help Hutch stand, relieved to have survived. They all then reunited in harmony. Soon after, police sirens started blaring in the distance. Hutch told his dad and brother to leave, saying he got this. In the next scene, we saw Hutch, heavily bruised and injured, seated in police custody and being interrogated. Suddenly, the agents received simultaneous phone calls and released him without charges. 3 months later, Hutch and his family bought a new home and were living a peaceful life.